Welcome to Talking Time. So today, gonna be servicing a Seiko 6119-6020 Sport Diver. I changed the crystal a while back, but it's its annual service date. As you can see, it was made in 1968, November, when they still had the proof. This one I got a while back for $60 about 6 months ago. I was the only bidder. It's a really nice one. But the only sad thing is the movement on when it originally came was rusted. So I changed the movement out. I'm really happy with it. I really like it. Just kind of awkward with the camera, because this is really my first video restoring one. Movement ring. There it is. Set that right there. It's really neat because it's a B. It's the B variant. And then just gonna gently remove the winding weight. There we are. It's pretty nice. It's not too worn. And it's relatively clean, but the numbers are pretty rough. There we are. I really like this tray because it swivels. And it holds the parts securely. And normally I leave the click spring in just because there's really no reason to take it out. Other than if you're gonna unless you have to do rust removal or anything like that. And right now I'm just taking out the stem. And this restoration's gonna be in 3 or 4 different videos. So that it'll be able to be not worried about uploading for me. And this is kind of an interesting piece because I actually had to build this from scratch. The only thing that was original is actually just this gear, the indicator gear. I had to modify this crown, the stem, the spring. It's funny because the spring and the stem is from a 6139 6000X rotating ring. And here we are. And right now I'm just putting the stem in so that I can align the hands so that I can take it off safely without damaging it. And what I'll do is, so that it's more of an even surface, I like to put it on top. And here we are. There's the second hand. I don't like to touch it with anything metallic. And let's see, focus. There we are. There's the dial feed screws. It's a really neat little watch. It's kind of funny, but back in July, my dad and I took a trip to, or not took a trip, but we went to see some family in Reno, and I took this with. And the dial, it's not perfect, but I like it. Eventually I'll relume it, but I just don't have the stuff for it to be able to. And this you always just want to be very careful with. Because if you're not only will you damage the day wheel, but the C-clip will also go flying, and you'll most likely never recover it. And for me, come on, I've worked on these so much that I've memorized them. How they go together and how the parts are supposed to work. And let's see. Sometimes I don't like to put it in here because it's easier to just rotate it when you need to. I have always loved these little seiko watches. They're so fun to work on. And there it is. And it's not so tough to work on that you have to have someone else do it. It's easy enough that you can do it yourself at home. Because really, before I started fixing my own watches, and I would take it to a relative that I have that lives in the valley over in Banos. I would have him take it to a person that he knows that works on them, but the thing is, I don't want to pay for something that I could do myself, and not only that, I know how good of a job I'm gonna do, if you know what I mean. Here's the, come on. Here's the minute wheel, the cannon pinion. I really like to take it off with the hand remover. I know that some prefer to use the actual cannon pinion remover, but for me, this works in place of tweezers. Because at least with this, it's an even pressure all around. And let's see, date jumper. This one's always a pain to get out, but normally what I'll do is I'll leave this one in, and normally I'll leave the day driving disc. Yeah, that's what it is. But normally I leave the keyless works in place, with an exception for the date jumper. So, one thing I will do before I go any further is, I don't trust myself to not forget. Because if this goes in the cleaning machine, those dial feet screws are coming out. And they will be a pain to find. But I do like the 7000 series dial feet just a little better, I think, because it's more tough to damage them. I really, really like this movement because it's one that you can learn on, but it's also not so expensive that you have to take out a loan to be able to even think about buying one. Because you can buy a lot of, you could buy the 6000 series, I mean, like the 5606, and the ones where it's both manual wind and automatic. But honestly, I would just say if you're beginning, like I did, which, of course, when you're new, you think you can learn in 10 minutes, but, well, I kind of did, but what I would do is for stuff like this where it's not, or not stuff like this, but for quite a bit of stuff, I would just take it apart over and over again. But I wouldn't on stuff that was good. I would take it apart on stuff that wasn't the best quality, but mostly I would take it apart to learn exactly how it went together. So that once time came to fix one that was valuable, I knew how to. And I wouldn't be scratching my head thinking, oh boy, what did I get myself into? Because I've done that before, but I think that this is a very fun hobby to get into. There's the train bridge. Yeah, that barrel was scraping on the bottom of it. Very dirty, but it's dirty, but not rusty. Oh, wow. Now that is dirty. See? That is all oil and just gunk. Come on. And then, now I like to come on. But now you really have to be careful. Because if this screwdriver even goes near the hairspring, then you're going to be in trouble, because if your screwdriver hits the hairspring, even just gently tapping it, it can make your time worse than if it was dunked in mud. But let's see. There we are. That's always my favorite part, is putting the balance in. Which is kind of fun. And now, what I like to do is I like to take the palette fork out. There we are. But for me, the main thing is I like to keep the screws separate. Right here. This one I know is for the balance. This side I know is for the pallet fork. And what I would say is if you're beginning doing watch repair or any sort of the hobby, even just taking, even if you're just oiling it, I would honestly suggest taking a video of yourself doing it. Because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble when it comes time to put it back together. If there's not a video already on it. There we are. There we are. But it's really just a nice hobby to get into. But what I would suggest is if you're just starting to learn the hobby, I would say start with pocket watches. Because when they made those back in the, I would suggest getting a Waltham 1883 7 jewel, because those ones, in my opinion, for pocket watches, that is the best one ever made. It doesn't matter if it's gold, silver, steel, the movement is fun to work on. Come on. There we go. It's really shiny metal. And then wow, look at how dirty that is. That's gonna go in the bath. And yeah, that's dirty. Well, that is the movement disassembled. And if you guys like the video, don't forget to subscribe and like if you want to. So that's the complete 6119 movement disassembled. Like I said, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and like. See you next time on part 2, which will be the reassembly. See you next time. Bye.